Have you hit a plateau on keto and you're ready to kick the plateau to the curb? Well, keep watching. In this video, I'm going to show you my top 5 reasons why you might not be losing weight. We're going to work from number 5 all the way up to number 1 to get rid of this plateau and start losing again on keto. So, number 5, you're having too many nuts. I know, I love them too. They're delicious, but they're very calorie dense. They have great fats. But when I cut out nuts, I start losing again. They're so easy to overeat. 1 ounce is a serving size, which is like 12, 13 macadamia nuts. If you're just grabbing handfuls as you walk by a couple times a day, you might be going over your fat macros and not even realizing it. So just limit the amount of nuts. Make sure you weigh them. I try to put them in individual bags so then I can visually see, and when that bag runs out, I know that it's time to stop eating. Yeah, you might be eating too many nuts. So that can stall your weight loss on keto. Number 4, you're not drinking enough water. You started drinking your diet sodas, maybe some adult beverages, and you need to make sure that you're drinking enough water. I know sometimes it's hard, but the water helps flush out all the fat. Every bodily function needs water. If you are super thirsty, you are dehydrated and you need to consume more water. We don't have the glucose stores holding on to all of this water. And so our body just really needs that water and those electrolytes to help with the fat loss and get everything through our system. And your body needs water to function properly. If you have let Diet Coke or the diet sodas, at least limit the diet soda consumption. And if you are drinking a little more adult beverages. On the weekends, you might have noticed that you're stalling. And the reason why you're stalling on that weight loss, it takes our body at least 24 hours to 48 hours to process all of that alcohol and get it out of our system. The body has to take care of the alcohol because it's a toxin. Be careful. And 2 or 3 drinks will make you feel really good now that you're on keto. And so you need to be very careful about the amount that you drink on keto. So if you've noticed that when you drink alcohol during the week, you don't lose any weight, it has to process the alcohol before it can process any of the fat loss. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about going out and having a good time with some adult beverages. Get that water back in. It will make a huge difference. So drink that water. Number 3, dairy. Some people are very sensitive to dairy and reactions to dairy. If you are having a hard time losing weight on keto, cut out dairy just for a week, just to see how it goes. If you're sensitive to it, that might be the reason why that you have plateaued and you are not losing weight on keto. It's really important that you look at how much dairy you're consuming because it's easy to overconsume on dairy. Even though it's low in carb, it still has carbs. A heavy-handed pour of heavy cream in your coffee in the morning, it might say 0, but how much are you using? Could you be putting 1 or 2 grams of carbs into your coffee in the morning? Those carbs add up. And so you want to be vigilant about what you're putting in your coffee and what you're snacking on during the day. Number 2, sweet treats. This is where I go wrong all of the time. Do you like sweets? I do too. But I noticed that when I consume more than normal sweet treats, I don't lose weight. And the reason is because that I've been having your Lily's, your Chalk Zero, your Rebel ice cream. I'm wondering if those things are kicking me out of ketosis, even though the net carbs are low. It's because the day after I consume those sweet treats, I'm hungry. It's hard for me to fast that day and I want more. I crave more. If you are craving more and you're having a hard time fasting, cut out the sweet treats for a bit. And you might notice that those are what's stalling your weight loss. My number one reason why you might not be losing on keto is because you're not tracking your food. You have the carb creep. This is a huge one. You get that carb creep coming on. You might be eating too much fat, overindulging on your macros. It's just easy to think that we're just eating keto food, so we're okay with where we're at and what we're doing. But once you start tracking, you can see that, you know, maybe you're way high on fat, high on carbs, and you didn't even realize it. It just happens over time. And you're like, oh, I'll have a handful of nuts here, a couple tablespoons of heavy cream in my coffee, and all of those things add up. So you really need to track your food, weigh it, because sometimes I look at a serving, well, what I think is a serving, and then I weigh it and I'm like, yeah, I'm a little off on that. It's a real eye-opener when you start weighing your food and you start tracking your food, how much you're consuming without even realizing that you're consuming it. So especially when it comes to ribeye steaks, oh, that looks like a 7-ounce portion, that's good. And the steak is really thick, and so it's a lot more than 7 ounces. So just be vigilant about what you're doing. Make sure you're tracking your food. You might just say, oh, I can eyeball it, you know, I weighed it, and you know, I kind of know now how much. Well, that extra half a tablespoon or tablespoon that you're pouring into your coffee every time that you go to have coffee, it all adds up. And there's extra carbs in there. And so you might be consuming a lot more carbs than you even realize. I know I just started tracking again. I've taken kind of a break from tracking because I was tired of it. And I've plateaued. And so this week I started tracking because I'm ready to get off this plateau and start losing again. It was an eye-opener. I was like, I'm eating a lot less food and a lot less carbs this week than I normally was. Those are my top 5 tips for getting off this plateau and losing weight again on keto. I want you to be successful. You can do this. We can do this. I need to do this. Let's do this.